Welcome to the podcast series hosted by Help in Crisis 246, where we focus on teaching what you can do in moments of mental or emotional crisis and where you can find help. But the series is not limited to only teaching how to cope in moments of crisis, but we focus on teaching you everyday methods that anyone can use during moments of high stress, difficulties, hurt, panic, anxiety. In other words, how to deal with some of life's most inevitably difficult moments. We do this through interviewing varying experts from different fields who share with us nuggets of wisdom on how we can cope in healthier ways through some of the most common difficulties we all face in life. We also interview those who are somewhere along on their own healing journeys and their journeys towards finding their authentic self as they share from a very vulnerable and open position how they were able to navigate that journey. I'm Michelle Russell. I'm an attorney and a mental health advocate, and I'm very passionate about this area because I had my own healing journey that I've been on for quite some time. And I really just hope that the series can help you navigate your difficult moments and your journey towards a better version of yourself. So if this interests you, be sure to subscribe to our channel, and you can follow us on IG or Facebook at Helping Crisis 246. So today we have with us Dr. Linda Walters, who is a licensed clinical social worker, and she also has a doctorate in organizational leadership and educational counseling. And I brought her on today because she has a particular specialty where she deals a lot with suicidal prevention. She also deals with PTSD and counseling those who might suffer PTSD. And I thought it would be a great time to have a conversation with her because it's December. And December for some is the most wonderful time of the year, and they will count down to Christmas and sing 12 days of Christmas and the family gatherings, and they feel wonderful. And for others, it is an extremely triggering or stressful time, particularly because we tend to gather together during the holidays. And for some, those family gatherings are the triggering event. They are the depressive events. For some, they lost persons they love, so that it's harder during this time. And by loss, I don't only mean that someone passes away, but it could be you went through a divorce. It could be a loss of a friendship, a loved one in some way. So that Christmas can be particularly difficult for you. So I brought Dr. Walters here so we can have a discussion on what the holiday season means for some and how we can engage in coping strategies to better navigate what can be a stressful and triggering time. Dr. Walters, thank you so much for joining us. How are you feeling today? You're in red.
Yes, red is my favorite color, and that's
So
as far as it goes.
To do with Christmas? Okay,
That's why I make
checking.
it so relatable, right?
Yes.
It's my favorite color, so I wear it quite often, but more around this time for obvious reasons. Yes.
So is it safe to say you're a Christmas person?
No, I'm not. I know, but I camouflage it well because it's my favorite color, and so people just assume that I am a Christmas person, but no, but I do dress the part and with the nails, etc. Yeah, I do.
Red and green.
Yes, I do, but I'm not a Christmas person.
We're hearing a little bit of an American accent, but you're based in Barbados and you do have a little bit of Bajan accent. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, yes, I am a Bajan, but I did do most of my tertiary education in the United States, and a lot of my practice is still in the United States.
Okay, you have like over 30 years, you told me?
30 years of doing social work, therapeutic counseling, working in several settings. I've worked in jails, schools, hospitals. Let's see where else. I've worked with the military. A lot of my experience has been with the military first responders, working, of course, with persons who have extreme cases of PTSD and suicidality. So we do have a high rate of police, firemen, and military personnel who do have issues with suicidality on a regular basis. And the holidays especially are extremely difficult for them as well.
So tell me about that, because that's a wide cross section: schools, hospitals, jails, the military, and first responders. What have you observed around the Christmas time in terms of persons' moods, behaviors, etc.?
I think around this time it can be very stressful for persons who might enjoy the holidays, but especially, what we tend to do, especially as Bajans, the cleaning up, the putting up the fresh curtains, the shopping for the Christmas ham, eggs and chicken are scarce now. So people get into like a little bit of a panic. Traffic is getting worse, things like that. So it can be extremely stressful, and some people, come out almost like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. One minute they want to hear the carols and they want to sing, but at the next stress moment, it's like I can't deal with it. I can't wait for Christmas to be over. I just want to wait for the day, Boxing Day, and relax. So people tend to, work themselves sometimes into a big stress moment to get through the holidays.
Well, I would actually like to touch on that, because originally I was really just talking about emotional stress, but I like the physical stress and pressure that you just talked about, because
Yes.
for those who love the holidays, they can become almost so tunnel vision. It's kind of like a wedding that, you forget that
Yes.
it's the marriage that matters, because everything's about planning this wedding and getting it right and perfect, perfect. And we can do the same thing for Christmas. Like you said, the
Yes.
shopping, the cooking, the curtains, so that Christmas becomes a draining event
Yes.
rather than
Exactly.
a fulfilling event. How are
Mhm.
some ways we could navigate that so that we take some of the pressure off so we can enjoy it more?
Well, my first takeaway on it is to plan ahead. Christmas is going to be the 25th. So let's plan ahead, break up those bigger tasks into smaller ones. A lot of people still work, and so they wait until the weekends to, do a lot of the household chores. But if you can, put off and just do a little bit day by day until that date, it would be a lot more helpful, to manage that big aha moment that you're waiting for December 25th. Also, for those who struggle with that, I also say to them, plan ahead. If you know the holidays are coming up and it's going to be a very depressing time for you, plan to do something. What are you going to do with those days? Are you going to engage with others, which is strongly recommended? It doesn't have to be a big party or, but one or two persons just allow into your inner space and let them know how you're feeling. Recognize that it's okay to feel alone. It's okay to feel a little blah and blue, because it is the holidays. Everybody can't be always rushing and having a good time. And even with that, if you can, then limit the time that you are spending. If you want to just give 20 minutes and go over to somebody's home, or half an hour and do something outside of your own home, that would be helpful also. So plan ahead is definitely key.
What about the tendency towards perfection? You want the kids to have a perfect holiday. You want everything up. You want everything cooked. What happens when things aren't going your way or leading up to
Mhm.
Christmas?
Yeah.
How do we
So I
cope with
think
that?
I think people need to be realistic. Again, it's just one day, and we have a whole season. Even if you want to do the countdown, 12 days of Christmas, and do something on each day to get to that date, then and include the kids. I mean, give them the opportunity to see that it's not perfect. So be realistic with yourself, with your expectations, so that the need for being disappointed down the road with the kids and what you're planning to do does not again become overwhelming, and then you spiral into a depression or being anxious because it didn't come off the way you thought it would come off. Give room for those things that you have no control over, like the traffic, right? Not having chicken, you might have to do lamb chops, what I mean? Give yourself space to have alternatives in terms of planning also for that meal, for that day, and just relax and enjoy it as much as you can.
I like that you said, show the kids it's not perfect,
Mm-hmm.
because in so doing, we are passing on its own coping mechanism and a view of the world that says I can still enjoy something that's not perfect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do we show our kids that it doesn't have to be perfect by failing and being like exasperated or involving them in the process? What would you recommend?
I would definitely recommend involving them in the process, giving them some tasks and some tools to work to prepare for Christmas. And if they also fall short, that becomes a teachable moment. What are you learning from that experience? That everything can't be perfect, right? We're not perfect beings, so why are we striving for that perfection? And I think kids value those experiences more than waking up and having 12 gifts under the tree and whatever, the turkey and the ham and the lamb. It's like one meat, you just need one, because you're going to spread it out for the rest of the days. And some of the kids sometimes can be a little ungrateful, so even teaching that spirit of thankfulness, I think, can be encouraged if you do that, in terms of involving them with Christmas. And even if you think of the Christmas story, even that in itself was not perfect, right? Jesus was born in a manger. Some people said outside in the back, in the outhouse, so who wants that? Who plans for that? But yet it became such a glorious moment, for persons who believe in Christianity. So again, teaching and making that, the focus, I think, would be helpful for the kids that we're raising today.
I'm also hearing a lot of grace, like give yourself grace, give
Absolutely.
the kids grace, and that's the walk away from perfection. The need,
Yes.
or the belief that says it's only good if it's perfect. It's
Mhm.
only good if I tick everything off my list. It's only this concept of it's only good if, and realizing that even if I will use an example, a tradition here appears to be, especially for those who believe in Christianity, you get up at for 5 a.m. service, is it?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then you go to church for an hour or two, and then you rush back, and then you're cooking and you're on your feet for like the entire day. You can't get a big breakfast. Some don't eat breakfast at all because
Right.
it's the lunch that matters. And the kids are saying, I'm hungry. And it's
Right.
like, no, don't feed that. Don't eat. You're going to spoil
Right.
your lunch. And how about grace? How about the thing that says, if we make it to church, great. But if we don't and we need to sleep in, no problem.
Yes.
Let's eat breakfast and have a smaller lunch. That whole
Right.
give yourself space to be
And grace.
flexible.
Yeah, absolutely. Flexibility is key. And I think it's, again, coming up on Christmas, and, people then reflect on what they've done, in the year, and planning what they plan to do in the new year. You're looking at being a little more flexible. Why are we being so rigid with ourselves and with our children? And what are we teaching them if they see that rigidity as it comes up on Christmas? And why are we so rigid on just one day? And if we had to break it down, not even 24 hours, because you're sleeping for 8, you're waking up, you're tired, and hence the preparation that goes into this, frenzy, this frantic frenzy, where kids would be more appreciative if you spent time with them, if you're doing carols, singing in the house while they're helping fluff the pillows. And if you have to put the curtains, somebody put the little stick in the curtains, or, do something to help around the house. It's a lot more appreciative, a lot more memorable. And that's the other thing, right? We're trying to make memories. We're trying to make positive memories, with our families. And so if we're doing that, we take a minute back to see, what are we projecting when we're trying to do that? Is it just frantic? Everything has to be, like you said, perfect. The ham, everything. You can tell I like ham, right? Because they keep bringing it up. But I think it's important that they recognize and see that it's not about that. It's not about being perfect.
What is it about then, or what should it be about?
I think it's about, if you can, it's about togetherness. It's about, being connected to your family and in general community. So again, back to those who really don't have that feeling or that approach, then why not consider volunteering? There are group homes still here, there are shelters here in Barbados. We have domestic violent persons who, are disconnected from their family. So if you want to, why not share then with someone who is less fortunate? Even some people find that they do a lot with pets. There's a big movement here in Barbados with cats and dogs going overseas. We have a lot of strays. And so there are a lot of community organizations who welcome volunteers to come and, feed some of the animals, during those times. So consider volunteering. That also, I think, would help with the whole spirit of Christmas, giving back, not just your treasure, which is money, but your time and your talent, if you have.
Good. So let's talk about that whole gratitude thing.
Mhm.
So I want to talk about financial pressure around this time because financial constraints play a big part in our mood, and they're a big trigger for depression. More often than not,
Mhm.
situational depression, but I think sometimes we don't focus enough on how somebody's finances or financial well-being affects their mental health.
Mhm.
Because if I am saying I am depressed because I haven't paid my utilities, they've cut off my water and light, and you say, well, let me teach you coping strategies. You're not dealing with the core problem, which is no, I just want you to help me pay the light bill or the water bill
Mhm.
or buy food.
Mhm.
So for those with financial constraints this year
Mhm.
who want to make this perfect Christmas, which includes buying this big meal and buying all these presents, but they're
Mhm.
unable to do, how do you navigate the feelings of grief and helplessness or even like feeling like a failure? How do you navigate those negative emotions?
I think, those negative emotions are there. I think heard you say at one point, to accept that those are the feelings that you do have. But let's see how you got to that point. What is that teaching you? Because I think feelings and those intense emotions are teachable moments. So then again, what are we striving for? If you have those utility bills, the example that you gave, that are there to be paid, and you don't have the money to be paying them, and yet you're still trying to create this big meal or whatever. Again, the sense of community. We might want to consider extending it to other persons, where we do a potluck. If I can only afford the ham, maybe you could bring the macaroni and cheese. Somebody else could do the rice and peas, but we're still going to have a meal. That has been lost, I think, in our community. I remember those days, where my aunts and uncles, that's what we did. It wasn't on one person. It wasn't burdensome to one person to create the whole meal, but everybody brought a dish, and we ended up having a very good meal, with our family and friends. Back to the financial stressors, what can you do about those? Sometimes you might have to go out and talk to your creditors, make some arrangements to pay it down. It might not be, you know, uh, easy for you to do that, to let people know, hey, I need help with this. Instead of paying the full $100, I can only pay 50 this month. And when I get paid again, I can pay another 50. You might have to look at, those types of um, um, tools, or the word I'm looking for, to help with paying down those financial stress, those bills as well. But yes, financial stress can lead to those intense moods and those intense emotions and feelings that we have, especially around this time of year. But I think, again, you need to be realistic with your situation and look to see how you can encourage or expand your family and your community to bring together. If you want to have that kind of dinner, if you want to have that kind of present, again, be realistic with your children or your family members. Set a budget. If you can't afford the iPad this year, you might need to collect more money and say, well, we're not getting an iPad, we might just have to get a generic tablet or something. But let's not push ourselves to that limit where then we spiral into depression and it doesn't end up being a happy time at all.
And also, so what happens when you're at work and they have the secret Santa and everybody
Mm-hmm.
must buy someone something, but you are already struggling? What
Mm-hmm.
advice would you give in that scenario?
Mm-hmm. Well, a couple of things. Depends on how, what I call hot, humble, open, and transparent that you want to be. Let people know I can't afford to do Secret Santa. Or,
Say that
if
again.
you,
Wait. Say that again. How hot you want to be, and hot means what?
humble, open, and transparent. That's from Dr. Michael Todd on, he has a podcast, but I love it. So I use it a lot. So if you want to be hot, you just let them know I can't participate. If you want to give an explanation, you can, but you just can't participate at this time. There also, ways where, some places will have a budget, a limit, right? So nothing over $25. So you already know that you're not going out and, shopping anywhere but at the $3 store. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a little gag gift, little something just to show appreciation, you know. Again, I think a lot of places are moving away from that, and doing something again more community focused, maybe going out again and volunteering at one of the shelters, doing a cooked meal and sharing with others, as opposed to, buying gifts for each other. And then, some people don't appreciate what they get anyway. So, and they regift it, right? Yeah, so I think that would be one of the ways I would handle it, letting them know that I'm not able to participate at this time. Or if you still want to participate, just saying, well, can we come up with a budget, a limit on the gift purchase, and making it, something like I said, $25, $30, you get a gift card from Shafet, you good, that's what it will be.
Actually, I like what you said. You said offer, tell them I can't participate, but you don't have to give an explanation. More often than not, out of people pleasing or fear of rejection or embarrassment, we over explain. It's enough to say, I can't participate at this time. And then you have to be able to handle the discomfort that will come with what story people will put to that. Because you can't control that part. So, you worry, oh my God, they're going to say I'm poor, or they're going to say this, or they're going to say I'm selfish. And you're going to go through all kinds of stuff. But it's enough to say, I can't participate at this time.
Yeah.
I relinquish control of everything else. It's like,
absolutely.
And you might get pressured because they're going to say it's lopsided. No, if we take you out, someone can't get a gift, but that's also not your problem.
Exactly.
You have to be true to yourself, true to your needs, true to what you can handle.
Yes.
And I'm going to use this to segue into Christmas. That's a difficult time for some. How do you navigate the depression that naturally comes for some during the holidays?
I think, again, just accepting that it is a difficult time for some, just accepting that that's how you're feeling. And, with that, taking some control over that emotion by doing something else. It's not just enough to sit in that discomfort, like I said earlier, plan ahead, plan to do something for yourself, if you can, look to, getting enough rest, catching up on binge, watching some movies, taking some time to enjoy nature. There are a lot of places and trails that you can hike, go to the beach, just being grateful to being alive. And again, looking forward to what you want to do differently in the new year. So planning out some things, looking at, some affirmations that will be helpful to your soul man, when you are feeling in this uncomfortable space. What can you tell yourself? What self-talk can you give to yourself that will help you push forward and move forward, when that season does come up?
Suppose I don't want to accept that I will feel depressed. I don't want to plan ahead. I am sad. I have no positive self-talk to give myself. What then?
Well, sometimes
and Dr. Linda, like, there's happiness all around me, which makes me feel even worse, because the happiness I crave and want, someone else has, and I can't manufacture it, no matter how I try. And going among families makes me feel worse because they have what I don't, or they have what I want. And I feel even more isolated and alone. So I withdraw more and more into myself. What then? There is no positive self-talk.
Well, if you choose, because that's the other thing, right? It is a choice that you are making, to stay in that state, to stay stuck, So if you choose to stay stuck, then all of that overwhelming, intense, negative feelings and behaviors and thoughts will continue. So it's, what do you want to do for yourself? Because it's for you. No one else knows what you're feeling or what you're experiencing unless you share that. So then why not do that then? Share it with one or two persons. Be hot, humble, open, and transparent. Listen, I'm feeling a little blue. I'm feeling a little depressed because I'm not, feeling that connection with the family and, the things I thought I was going to get, or, the bonus, was able to, possibly buy some more toys. I'm not able to do that. So when do we get to that state of just accepting, that and keeping it what it is. And then again, my first point, planning ahead. How can we move forward to be different? Because being stuck and being uncomfortable with those emotions is obviously not something that you want to continue to do. So if you're going to take that mirror and look at yourself, what are you going to do differently so you don't feel or stay stuck in this moment, in this season? You know, sometimes you do have to, you know, I think sometimes stress is a big motivator. If you think of what stress is, it motivates you to either stay or move forward, or move, I should say. So why not move?
In fact, movement is underrated because we think of move as in moving out of the emotional space. But physical movement can get those endorphins going,
Yes.
that help to remove some of the cortisol and give us more feel good hormones that can get us out of the funk, you know? Because, you know, the Buddhists have this saying, what you focus on expands. So that the thing you pay the most attention to is the thing you'll see everywhere. It's like you don't notice the blue in the room until you start to look for the blue. And then all of a sudden, everything's blue. And you never saw it before. So if all you're focusing it on is how alone you are, how sad you are, how whatever, you will, I assure you, find more evidence of your loneliness and your sadness, because what you focus on expands in your thoughts, in your mind. So that if you're struggling to get out of those kind of stuck thoughts, a good way to start is just movement. I like to dance. I'll put on some music and I'll just dance. I shouldn't shake because the mic is going to pick this up. But I dance and I move. Sometimes cleaning is therapeutic for me, because I find, like, especially when I'm angry, look, you should see me scrub. Look, the thing's shining. Okay, I'm putting all that anger in it. And but it helps to release the cortisol and bring in some serotonin, endorphins, you know, the feel good stuff. And out of that clearer space, which I call breaking the circuit of the negative stories and emotion, also that clearer space, I have that moment where I can say, I'm going to go visit my friend, or I'm going to go to the beach, or I'm going to go walk the dogs. Because if you try to do it in the heavy space, you're going to find all the reasons why you shouldn't do it, because what you focus on expands. But when you can move just to get the blood flowing and the hormones going, it makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
Well said. I want to close off with talking about finding the courage to make Christmas what you want it to be. And I think when we grow up in cultures and with traditions and even with religion, and we're told the thing is to look one way only, some people can find it difficult to break away from that tradition, because sometimes it's family pressure. And they mean it out of love, you know. We always gather together at Christmas. You know, you always cook the ham. You know, we always go to church. You know, we always. And these are the events that cause you stressors or triggering events for you. Finding the courage to say no, knowing you're going to disappoint someone, knowing you may hurt someone. What advice would you give in those scenarios where the tradition is the thing that makes you triggered?
So again, you know, if you're not ready to be clear about your own boundaries, then start slowly with yourself. If that's the expectation, you know, then you might want to say, I can only do half an hour, or I'm only spending 10 minutes. I'm only going by to say Merry Christmas to Granny, and then I'm out. You know, I'm not spending all day with everybody. And little by little, that becomes your routine. That becomes your way of, you know, putting more space again and grace, right, between those traditions, you know, and what you want to do for yourself. So again, if it is that you have to start slowly, you know, yes, you might have to attend the church service, but you know, you go in late, waving everybody, they see that you're here, and then you fade to black. Listen, people have, and not that you lie, but listen, I wasn't able to stay for the whole service. And that becomes the end of it. You know, you don't have to go to any more explanation. You don't want to lie to anybody. I had a headache, and you put all of that pressure again on yourself, right? So I wasn't able to stay for the whole service. I wasn't able to stay, you know, at the Christmas luncheon with everybody. I wasn't able to, whatever, fill in the blank. But giving yourself, again, making sure that your boundaries become more evident to everybody else. Okay, she's not spending as much time. No, I'm not. But I am showing up. in these spaces, and slowly but surely you will get to that point where you're able to say, no, I'm not able to attend the event this time, this season.
I love that actually. And I love that you went back to that same point. You can answer without explanation. State your position without explanation. Everyone doesn't deserve an explanation, right?
No.
Years ago, I saw a quote that says, "No is a complete sentence." I
Hello.
never forgot that.
That's right.
I don't have to tell you why I'm saying no. Enough that it's a no.
Yeah. Yes.
So to
And we'll
close
say
out,
no, please. We'll say no, please. We're Bajan. We'll say no, please.
yeah, I hate that term. I never say no, please. Like
I know you. Yeah. Yeah, we'll get there. But again, it's about, again, it's hard sometimes to navigate, in those spaces, especially when the pressure is on with family and the expectations are, this is what you do, this is how we roll. And so if you're getting into that comfort, and again, making sure that your boundaries are clear, it might start off with just slowly pushing back. 10 minutes, I can only spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And you don't have to tell them how long you're going to spend. You just know that, oh, time's up. I'm out, Gotta go. Got to go. Yeah.
I love that. So in closing, what message would you give for the holidays? Like one of those priceless messages that if you could only say it in 30 seconds, this is what you would want everybody to know about the holidays and how best to navigate it.
I think just make sure that you get the time that you need to rest, to be reflective, to be your authentic self. The holidays mean a lot to a lot of people, but this is also a time for you to, if nothing else, focus on the breath. Take a breath, inhale deeply, and let it out slowly. And hopefully, as this season continues and passes, that you come to that realization that you are enough.
That is so true. Thank you so much, Dr. Walters, for being here with us today and sharing these gems for navigating the Christmas season, whether you love Christmas or it's a hard time for you. Either way, we had some really good advice. So thank you for your willingness to share. If people want to reach you, how can they find you?
Yes, I'm at lswtherapeutics.com. That is my website, and you can leave a message and I will respond within 24 hours. And I'm free for consultations or groups or just meeting up and having a conversation with those who might need some additional support during this holidays time.
And will you be open during the Christmas for those who might be having difficulty navigating?
Yes, I will be. Yes, I am. I am very available during the holidays. Yes.
Oh, that's very good to know. Thank you.
I am. Yes, you're welcome.
Great. Thank you so much for this.
And Merry Christmas to you. I hope you celebrate and enjoy your season. Remember the reason, whatever that is, but you get some rest as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.